Hey guys, this is D Jackson from the Jackson Garden, and I'm coming to you today to show you how I fill up my raised garden beds for the Lolo. Now, the majority of the things that I'm going to be using is going to come from my garden, from my backyard. Everyone I know, I'm in Georgia, Zone 8B, and I know most people in Georgia has trees in their yards, and the leaves fall. If you have pine trees, I had a lot of pine needles that fell. We had to get a tree cut, so I had branches that I pulled on the side right before winter last year. They were just drying out on the side of the house. And so recently my husband took everything, cut it down, and just piled it up. And so now I will be able to use the leaves that have now dried out and brown. I will be able to use that as a filler in my bed. I'll be able to use the pine needles, the branches, everything to put in the bottom of my bed as a filler. And really the soil that I'm using is soil that I already had, that I already used last season, that I will just add some compost. I love to use the mushroom compost. I will be adding the compost and adding amendments, which will be my bone meal, biochar, blood meal, all those amendments that my soil need. Plus, I will be using some grass cuttings. So this soil is going to be so nutrient dense, and it's not going to cost me an arm and leg to fill this bed. So let me show you right quick what one of them looks like, and I still have to do the other one. So this is one that I am working on right now, but this is one that I just did. And what I did was I had a lot of branches, pine cones, a big old pile of it, and I filled the bottom. First, I put the weed guard right here. Then I put some old cardboard. I have some boxes. You see, I have some broken down right there. So that's going to be a layer. It's called the lasagna method. That's going to be a layer. Then that's going to be a layer. And then see all these things right here. I got branches and brown leaves and pine cones and all those things. I got bigger branches back there. I have some over there. And then on the other side, is a pile, of branches and pine cones. What happened was a few weeks ago, we had a little tornado came through here. So it knocked down a bunch of the branches off of the trees. I mean, like a bunch. And so what my husband did, he just cut all those things up. And I told him, hey, don't throw them away, because I could use that to fill up the bottom of my beds. So it was really it was a blessing that we didn't get hurt, and it was a blessing that I had some things that I could put in the bottom of the beds. So again, what we're going to do is what I did over here already. We're going to put the weed guard here. Then we'll put the boxes here, and then we'll put all stuff like that, branches and everything at the bottom. Then the pine needles, I'm going to layer that up. Guys, I did that bed already with this, and let me tell you, it filled up a lot. Now, when I put it in there, I did press it down because I know it's going to settle by the time the rain hits it, and just natural settling, that's going to happen. But what I did was I went on ahead and I put those in there. Now, I know that a lot of gardeners say they're too acidic. Well, what you want to happen is that you want them to brown. If you let them brown, like these are still browning a little bit, but the majority of them, they've sat out all winter and they have turned brown. When they are brown, the acidity level is so low till it will not make a difference in your garden. Now, most people use it as a mulch. I looked at it and I was like, I'm going to use this as a filler. And so I put that in there, which was amazing. To me, it's just like using your grass clippings and all that. It's going to be useful in putting nutrients back into the soil. They are good with nitrogen and all of that. And so I'm using that. So I put that in there, and then the soil that I had from last season when I was trying to call myself growing some corn, it didn't work. That's okay. We emptied out those grow bags, and that soil's sitting there. So On top of the pine needles, I'm going to put that soil, and I'm going to mix it with some grass clippings because I've been cutting grass. My lawnmower has a bag on the back. This is it right here. And so those grass clippings and stuff, I'm going to mix that in there. That puts organic material back into your soil. And then on top of that, I'm going to put a good layer of some mushroom compost. I used the evergreen. I've used it before. I used their topsoil and all that. Never had a problem. Look at my greens that are growing. Look at my sprouting broccoli, my cabbages. That's the stuff that I use, and my garden does well. Along with, I do use amendments and all of that. So I'm going to put that mushroom compost on top of there, and then put my amendments and everything, my blood meal and bone meal and all that. I'm going to water it in, and then I'm going to plant some of my starts. What I'm going to put in over here is some of my brassicas for the spring, and I'm going to cover them up. The reason why we're going to put them over here is because you see that little shade, it's dappled. Plus I have shade cloth just in case it get a little hot, but that's for a future video. I am curious to see how that's going to work because I'm in Georgia. It's on 8B, and it'll go from winter to summer quick. Spring is like a little appetizer. But in any case, guys, let's go over this one more time. That is the weed barrier. Then we're going to go with the cardboard. Then we're going to fill it with some branches and the pine cones and all that kind of stuff. Then I'm going to put the pine needles on top of that, a good bunch. I'm going to put some soil on top of that. And then I'm going to mix that in with some of my grass clippings for organic matter that's going to break down and release nitrogen and all that in the soil. I'm going to put I use mushroom compost until my compost pile starts breaking down and doing what it needs to do. I'm going to put the mushroom compost on top of that, and then I'm going to amend my bed. And then that is how you fill up your garden raised bed for the low. I would do it on this video, but I think you all got the idea. But anyway, you guys have a great day. It's not too late to plant something. If you don't have time for seeds, you could go get you a starter from any of the big box stores, any of the plant nurseries, Tractor Supply, any place like that. Guys, let's get that seed in the ground. Let's get that plant in the ground. Let's start growing our own food, okay? This is Dee Jackson from the Jackson Garden. You guys have a fabulous day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.